Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us as we gather to honor a United States Marine Corps veteran with a very special award. We have a special set of activities planned for our honoree and our students. It is my hope for the students and perhaps all of us that you walk away from this ceremony and the panel discussion later with a deeper understanding of what it means to serve others. Today, we recognize not only a uniform worn or a branch served, but a life defined by courage, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to something greater than self. I think we're all familiar with a quilt. In case you're not, bear with me with a little description. It's a traditional bed covering. It consists mostly of 3 layers. A top layer is decorative patchwork, usually with a specific intentional design. The middle is filler to give some substance. And the bottom is the backing that kind of solidifies the top and the middle layers. And they're joined together by stitching. And usually these quilts are hand sewn, which provides added meaning to it. The Quilt of Valor is more than fabric and stitching. It is a symbol of a great nation's appreciation. Each thread represents gratitude, respect, and an acknowledgement of service rendered in defense of our freedoms. WHS and the community as a whole are so proud of Lance Corporal Keaveney. And on behalf of Westborough High School, we want to thank you for your service. To our high school students here today, moments like this should remind you that service matters. In our mission here, as Rangers, service is choosing responsibility and courage over convenience. It is sacrificing personal comfort once in a while to protect or support others. It is doing honorable things even when no one is watching. Commitment to our mission means standing up for and standing by your values, your group of friends, your teammates, your community, especially when challenges arise or rough patches come your way. Standing up to face those challenges and working through them does make you stronger and provides you, more importantly, with opportunities to grow in character and in developing a greater sense of self. And I hope we can all agree you do not necessarily need to wear a uniform to serve, although what an honorable profession putting a uniform on is. But you serve when you lift others up, when you act with integrity, and you give your very best to your community. Today here at WHS, we celebrate a Marine whose example teaches us what honor truly looks like. And thanks again for being here. We hope you enjoy the ceremony. At this time, I would like to introduce the main organizer of this event, our MC, a local veteran himself, and the First Lieutenant, U.S. Marine Corps, Mr. Andy Turok.
I'd just like to say that all the Marines are here today, are very happy to be here. They're happy to do what we're going to do today. I look out at the audience and my God, it's packed. All you students are here. But I also know that you had no choice. You had to be here. Students, faculty, and honored guests. We are here to honor our hero, Paul Keaveney. Paul earned the Silver Star in Vietnam. There is only one award higher than the Silver Star, and that is the Medal of Honor. celebration today is brought to you by the Veterans Advisory Board, which is made up of veterans from all branches of the service. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of the members, Lee Stret. He brought this idea up. He was the one that suggested we should do something with the quilt at the high school. So thank you, Lee. How about standing up, please? Yes, I gotta get the fucking paper. Would everybody, if they're able, please stand for the presentation of the colors? Inside the Marine Corps' legendary boot camp at Paris Island, recruits face 13 weeks of relentless physical and mental challenges. And it is designed to transform a civilian into a United States Marine. I know they blew it. They're supposed to play that first, for Christ's sake. I can't believe it. Yeah. As proud as I am of being a Marine, I know that the national anthem comes first wherever you are, and the Marine Corps hymn would be second. But it is what it is, so we're going to do the national anthem without the band. They're going to.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
I'll say it again. Inside the Marine Corps' legendary boot camp, recruits confront 13 weeks of relentless physical and mental challenges, which are designed to transform civilians into United States Marines.
You will not run, you will walk fast, and you will get on all my yellow footprints. Do you understand? Yes, sir! Grab all of your stuff and get out right now. Scream, aye, sir! Aye, sir! All you move fast right now. Scream, aye, sir! Aye, sir! Walk fast, get on the yellow footprints right now.
Where the difference begins. Recruit receiver. Upon their arrival at MCRD Paris Island, young men and women take their first step toward becoming a United States Marine. As they stand with the yellow footprints firmly at attention, heels together, head and eyes straight to the front, and thumbs along their trouser seams, they are given a speech by the receiving drill instructor on how these recruits are expected to conduct themselves during recruit training.
You are now aboard Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, South Carolina, and you have just taken the first step toward becoming a member of the world's finest fighting force, the United States Marine Corps. Starting now, you will train as a team. You will live, eat, sleep, and train as a team. The word I will no longer be a part of your vocabulary. Now, standing before you are two silver hatches. These silver hatches signify your transformation from a civilian to a United States Marine Corps recruit. Therefore, you will pass through these hatches once and never again. Do you understand? Yes, sir! Scream yes, sir! Yes, sir! So recruits, grab the hatches. Yes, sir! Scream aye, sir! Yes, sir! All you get in right now! Yes, sir! Scream aye, sir! Yes, sir! Get in, move faster right now. Scream aye, sir! Yes, sir!
Upon entering the Recruit Administration Center, recruits are assigned their platoon number and training company and complete paperwork that is necessary to begin their training.
Scream aye, sir! Aye, sir! That on the top imaginary line is going to be your last name, first name, middle initial. Scream aye, sir.
Next, the recruits make their way to the telephone room, where they will make a scripted and final call home.
This is Recruit Disciple. I have arrived safely at Paris Island. Please do not send any food or local items. I will contact you in 29 days by the business address. Thank you for support. Goodbye for now.
Aye, sir!
In receiving, recruits are given their first regulation haircut. This removal of hair and civilian attire represents a stripping away of their individuality. Before training can begin, the drill instructors must take an oath in front of the series commander to reaffirm their commitment to the recruits and to the Marine Corps. These drill instructors will be with the recruits throughout all three phases of recruit training.
Sit up straight and look at me. My name is Scott Smartin, and I'm your senior drill instructor. Our mission is to train each one of you to become a United States Marine.
Drill instructors are handpicked from across the Marine Corps and are the epitome of what it is to be a United States Marine. Physical training, or PT, is a monumental part of both recruit training and the Marine Corps way of life. Marines must be physically fit to successfully fight on the battlefield and continue to win America's wars. Recruits PT several times each week and must prepare for the physical fitness test and combat fitness test for later on in recruit training and their Marine Corps career. Core values guided discussions.
Definition: moral courage. To do what is right despite peer pressure, fear, shame, humiliation, and other responsible consequences. Do you understand?
During these guided discussions, the senior drill instructor sits down with his or her platoon and has open discussions with the recruits regarding the core values of honor, courage, and commitment. Confidence course. Here, drill instructors focus on building confidence in recruits by pushing them to overcome various challenging obstacles.
Hey, go faster!
Let's go, Lay boy. Hey there, Lay two. Take your step.
The Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. McMap is the official hand-to-hand martial arts style used by the Marine Corps. The tan belt level of McMap teaches basic techniques such as strikes, chokes, counters, and falls. Close order drill. Recruits practice drill every day, and therefore it is a central part of recruit training. Drill teaches recruits instant willing obedience to orders, discipline, uniformity, and moves the platoon from one place to another. Recruits are evaluated twice on close order drill during recruit training: initial drill and final drill. Basic water survival. Marines are an amphibious fighting force and therefore must be confident in the water. Recruits must pass basic water survival during recruit training. The evaluation consists of 25-meter swim, high dive jump, 2 minutes of treading water, and stripping a combat load underwater. Training Day 24 marks the beginning of second phase, when recruits must overcome their fears and scale down a rappel tower.
Once around. Twice down. Lock the gate. Gate is locked. Put that left hand over my hand.
The recruits spend several hours in classes over how to safely and successfully rappel down a wall.
Rappel! Let's do it. How about you stand up?
After completion of the rappel tower, the recruits move on to a greater challenge, the gas chamber. The recruits are taught how to put on the gas mask in less than 10 seconds. Recruits are then tested on their newly gained knowledge of gas mask procedures with CS gas. The gas chamber is used in order to build a recruit's confidence with the gas mask procedures in case it is needed on the battlefield. The Marines live by an ethos. Every Marine is first and foremost a rifleman. No matter what the military occupational specialty, every Marine is expected to know how to confidently aim and fire the M16A4 service rifle. This warrior ethos sets the Marine Corps apart from all other branches of the United States Armed Forces. Recruits must fire their M16s at targets from 200, 300, and 500 meters. At the different positions of sitting, kneeling, standing, and prone, recruits have 50 rounds to tally 190 points out of 250 to pass qualification. On Training Day 48, the recruits begin the third and final phase of recruit training, where they are challenged on everything they have been taught during their time on Parris Island. The combat fitness test, one of 2 fitness tests in the Marine Corps, consists of 3 graded events: an 880-yard sprint, ammo can lifts, and the maneuver under fire course. Final drill, where recruits are ultimately tested in their abilities in close order drill on the renowned Petros Parade Deck.
Forward! March! Heel up, hard, long. Heel up. Heel up, hard. Heel up, hard, long. Heel up, hard.
During their time in recruit training, recruits have spent over 100 hours practicing close order drill as a platoon. Final drill is the last time they will step onto the parade deck until graduation. On training day 63, the recruits awake at 0200 hours to begin their 6-mile hike to Page Field. Just the first challenge of many for the culminating event, the Crucible. For the next 54 grueling hours, under simulated combat conditions, the recruits will cover 40 miles by foot. They are now running on very few meals and very few hours of sleep. It will be the most difficult challenge of their lives so far.
It's hand-to-hand combat. Let's go. Get some. Get some. Harder.
Catch is ready. Ready. Jump it. Jump away.
Core values guided discussions are held during the Crucible to explain the heroic actions of Marines of the past.
Yes, sir. You understand that, right? Yes, sir. You all have to move as one. You understand?
I'm up, you see me, I'm down, leave, quick, and right. I'm up, you see me, I'm down, leave, quick, and right.
Exhausted and hungry, the only obstacle standing between these recruits and earning the title of Marine is a 9-mile hike to the Iwo Jima Monument. There, they will watch their nation's flag rise and be awarded the coveted Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, the emblem of the Marine Corps, by their drill instructors. Thus, completing the transformation and earning the title of United States Marine.
This morning, as you watched our nation's flag raise, that chill that you felt is a symbolic fusion of our core values that you have embraced within these 11 weeks. You have earned the title Marine, and that is something that no one can ever take away.
You do the right thing all the time. That's what you're supposed to do. Because of your goals. Thank you.
The last evaluation these Marines must undergo before graduation is the battalion commander's inspection. Uniform inspections are held in order to check for serviceability and fit of uniforms, as well as test a Marine's bearing, knowledge, and attention to detail. Graduation day day they have been anxiously awaiting since first stepping on the yellow footprints. The platoons march on the Petros parade deck one final time for the graduation ceremony.
Marines have served aboard Parris Island since 1891, and more than 1 million Marines have been trained here. They have departed Parris Island for combat and conflicts throughout the world.
After surviving 13 weeks of the toughest, most demanding basic training the United States military has to offer, these young men and women, like hundreds of thousands before them, have earned the title United States Marine.
The senior drill instructors will now dismiss their platoons. This is the last and probably the most welcomed order the new Marines receive from their senior drill instructors.
Walk fast to go to the yellow footprints right now. You are now aboard Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Brian Callahan and the Westborough High School staff for hosting this event. Thank you, Andy and the Veterans Advisory Board for making this event possible for Paul Keaveney. My name is Sean Brosnahan. I've been in town here for 20 years. I've known Paul for that time, and it is an honor and privilege to stand up here today and be asked to read his Silver Star citation. For those of you who don't know about military awards, there's all types of awards that can be awarded to Marines for something exceptional. Some are smaller, some are much more impactful. So what Paul did 56 years ago, it was February 7th when it happened. He was about your age, maybe a little bit older. And I want you to put yourself in that time or where you are today in your life while I read this citation. Citation it's a condensed version of what happened that day on the battlefield in Vietnam. It was written by his company commander and passed up the chain of command. And then he was ultimately awarded the Silver Star. The President of the United States of America takes pleasure in presenting the Silver Star to Lance Corporal Paul Keaveney, United States Marine Corps, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action while serving as a reconnaissance man with the 3rd Force Reconnaissance Company, 1st Marine Division, in connection with military operations against the enemy in the Republic of Vietnam. On 7 February 1970, Lance Corporal Keaveney was a member of a reconnaissance team
which was conducting a patrol in the Shaw Valley in Tuatien province when the Marines came under intense fire from a numerically superior North Vietnamese Army force, pinning down the team and wounding 4 Marines, including Lance Corporal Keaveney. Despite his painful wound, he moved to a vantage point along the trail from which he could more clearly observe the movements of the enemy and from which he could more accurately deliver fire with his grenade launcher. With complete disregard for his own safety, Lance Corporal Keaveney boldly stood in full view of the hostile force on 3 separate occasions and fearlessly remained in his precarious position while the enemy concentrated their fire on him and delivered his grenade launcher fire with such devastating effectiveness that the North Vietnamese were prevented from advancing down the trail toward the Marines' position. Each time he stood, he was struck by hostile small arms fire. But, undeterred by his serious wounds, he would again resolutely stand to deliver fire. When the nature of his wounds finally rendered him unable to fire his weapon, Lance Corporal Keaveney obtained the radio from the operator, thereby freeing a fellow team member to more actively engage the enemy while he requested gunship support and medical evacuation helicopters. His aggressive fighting spirit and valiant actions inspired all who observed him and were instrumental in the defeat of a numerically superior North Vietnamese Army force. By his dauntless courage, bold initiative, and unwavering devotion to duty in the face of great personal danger, Lance Corporal Keaveney upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service.
At this time, we're going to award Paul with the Quilt of Valor. Back in the beginning of the 20th century, I guess I just screwed that up. In 2005, Catherine Roberts had a vision. Her son was deployed to Afghanistan. The vision was horrible. He looked full of despair. He could hardly move. And then, just like a movie, another scene came on, and he had no despair anymore. He was happy. He was excited. What happened? She wondered, and she looked closely, and she saw that he was wrapped in a quilt. She believed that that quilt gave him warmth and healing powers. She made 3 quilts, went to the chaplain in the hospital, and I just forgot the name of the hospital, Walter Reed Hospital, and asked him if he would give those to 3 patients and see what happens. The next day, the chaplain called her and said, "How many and how fast can we get them?" She was thoroughly excited. That was the start of the Quilt of Valor. Those who wear the uniform are the most effective. The quilt is to thank you for your honor and for your service. There are 18,000 people, men and women in the United States, that make these quilts. They might go have coffee, they might have tea, they make all these patches, and they put them together. So far, 452,000 quilts have been issued to veterans. So now we are going to present Paul with his quilt. Paul, I like to say that don't put that quilt in the closet. Put it on your bed. I know where you live, and if I have to come and get the quilt, I'm going to come and get it. So keep it out there. Great. Would our 3 Marines come up, please? We're going to have the students. I know you have some questions. Is there a microphone for them to speak? They're going to come up here, okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is First Sergeant Mach. I am currently stationed with Fort Devens, Massachusetts, with the 25th Marine Regiment. I'll let everybody else introduce themselves.
Morning, everyone. My name is Captain Matthew Pinna, also stationed up at Fort Devens, infantry officer, and, just really happy to be here today.
Good morning, students. My name is Staff Sergeant Zhang. I'm also stationed at Fort Devens, logistician, so I deal with a lot of food service stuff, shipping, supply items, and that type of stuff.
Hello, my name is My name is Brian Levine. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your service. And my question is, what were the underlying motivations that eventually led you to pursue a path of service?
So I was 24 years old when I enlisted. So not the typical person straight out of high school. I went through college. I was working jobs, paying my rent, doing everything like normal people do. But there was just something missing. My brother enlisted. 2 of my brothers enlisted. One went to the Coast Guard. My other brother went to the Marines right in the initial beginning of the war, and was deployed. And I just went through my days, and I just felt like there was something missing. So, one day I woke up and walked in the recruiting office and said, when can I leave? And I've been in for over 17 years now, about to retire. So.
Yeah, I think to give another perspective on that as well. Grew up in a nice community, solidly middle class, never wanted for anything, wasn't rich, but, we were happy. And I loved that, and I loved the fact that my community members were always there for each other to help each other out when they needed it in their times of need. And realized, I want to be able to give back to that. I ended up going to college as well, went to the University of Chicago. And actually, I thought I wanted to do politics. I actually held local elected office in Chicago. And then, when the whole, I guess regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, everything got very aggressive, and I realized I wanted to be in a place where I could actually help people and be among people who care about their community and serving their nation. And I found that in the Marine Corps, and it's been pretty awesome.
For me, I've always wanted to do it since straight out of high school. But one of the big factors was that I am a refugee from the Vietnam War, actually. Tore my country apart. At the time, I was only 2 years old when I came to the States. So I think it's given me a great opportunity and to give back to the country that's allowed me to be this successful. I have been in for 14 years. I'm looking to do another at least 6 more, retire, and then go off and do bigger and better things.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carlos, and my question for you guys is, what age did you guys decide to join, and why did you guys choose the Marines rather than any other branch of military?
So I stated I was 24 earlier, but I enlisted because, one, I knew it was the hardest branch. I saw My brother who went to the Coast Guard, nothing against Coast Guard, right? Love my brother. He ended up retiring in the Army, did an inter-service transfer, and then retired from the Army. But so there's a little rivalry with my brothers and I. But I knew it was the hardest, and it was going to push me the hardest I'd ever been pushed. And there was something about that. I don't know if I'm a glutton for punishment or whatnot, but something just drew me into that, knowing that I could achieve something that so few people have ever been able to do. So.
Yeah, I think the exact reason that I gave my officer selection officer, well, I was 20 when I commissioned, so right after I graduated. I think I remember telling him that, 5, 10, 15 years from now, I didn't want to wake up, stare in the mirror and realize that I had things I regretted, or, regretted never even trying to become the best version of myself in every aspect I could be. And so, of course, I picked the Marine Corps because we are the best. And I wanted to push myself and really see what I was capable of. I'm very happy I made that decision.
To kind of echo off these gentlemen, I chose the Marine Corps because it was the best. And to tell you guys how I made that decision, I went to a Navy boot camp, mini boot camp over summer. And at the time, I didn't know what the Marines were. I've never met a Marine before. And when they showed up as part of the training, it was just different. Like, I felt like these guys carry themselves way above the Navy guys. No disrespect to any Navy veterans here, but it was just something that set them apart. And that's when I decided I was going to join the Marines.
Hello, my name is Amok Prakash, and my question is, what did you guys think the Marines would be like before you joined, and how accurate was that?
So my brother refused to tell me anything about anything of the Marine Corps, and he said, "You're going to find out." So all I knew was what I saw on TV. I remember the commercial with a Marine slaying a dragon. That was pretty much my first introduction to the Marine Corps. You didn't slay dragons in boot camp. I'll just let you know. So I was a little disappointed. Yeah, you don't really know until you're there. Nothing can truly prepare you other than doing the little things. Discipline, kind of the way you were raised, and the way you hold yourself. Because it's a whole different experience when you go out there. So if anyone is ever interested in doing it, I just recommend having an open mind and being willing to push yourself and not give up, because that's really what it comes down to, is just not giving up on yourself and not giving up on your fellow recruits and Marines. So yeah.
I'd say two things. I mean, one, it lived up to the hype, like who I was before and who I was after the training is just vastly different. And what I was capable of doing, or like what you think you're capable of doing, is nothing compared to what you can actually do when the time comes and when you're actually pushed to do so. Secondly, though, I'll address a pretty big misconception that even especially my parents had when I said, hey, by the way, not doing banking, not doing politics, I'm joining the Marine Corps. They're like, oh God, but not even that. It's like they're like, oh, Marines eat crayons, Marines aren't the smartest guys. And I can't, that's the furthest from the truth. I mentioned a bit about my background, University of Chicago undergrad, getting my MBA from Cornell in about a month or two. And I'm starting a Harvard program for international relations. And some of the other officers enlisted that I've been with are some of the smartest people I've ever met in the entire world. And I can say that, like I've been around the world, And just the character combined with the intelligence of being a Marine makes a unique man and woman that I can't find anywhere else. And it's the reason why I'm standing here talking to you guys today. I truly love being a Marine.
Yeah, for me, everybody told me I was crazy. All of my peers told me, "What am I doing? I'm gonna go ruin my life." All the stereotypical things. But I knew this is something that I want to do. I knew it was going to be challenging. You seen the boot camp videos, you heard boot camp stories, how they're going to break you down. Every day is going to be a struggle, but they tell you to live child by child, right? Live meal by meal. But I do have to say, boot camp, the whole experience of becoming a Marine, it was one of the funnest place that you can the funnest place that you're not allowed to laugh at. So.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kanak, and my question for you is, what surprised you most about Marine basic training, and what did you find most difficult?
You said, what did you find, what did you like the best and the least?
What surprised you most about Marine basic training, and what did you find most difficult?
Okay. So I would say the thing that surprised me the most was the intimidation of the drill instructors. Being a grown man, you know, I don't want to say I backed away from fights or anything like that. And you have this perception of, oh, I'm a big guy or I'm a big girl, you know, you're walking into it and you get very humbled very quickly and realize that you're nothing like you thought you were. So that was a shock for me. And I'm not a person who would ever go and try to start stuff with people or anything by any means, but it was definitely a shock. I think the most challenging part was once you got pushed to a certain level and you failed, because I never want to fail. That's been something in my just who I am, is I don't fail. I will give everything I have, put everything on the table, and I'm going to succeed. I'm going to do this. There you fail. You will fail. Every single person will break. They will get pushed to their limit, but that's part of the experience, and that's part of how you're built back up to become a stronger person, a stronger Marine, and a stronger teammate. So I think that was the most difficult aspect, was realizing that, you know, you have limitations, and but also seeing the aftermath of how it has shaped you as a person. So.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I think that's a great question. It's one I was sitting there thinking about for a few minutes because I was a little confused as to where to start. I mean, I would say most surprising. So as an officer, you don't go through boot camp. You go to officer candidate school, and I guess the people that were there, you know, a lot of them were, you know, D1 athletes, you know, like all-star professional dudes. And I was and still am a pretty nerdy guy, like super nerdy dude in high school. Went to where fun goes to die, and there I am sitting with dudes who played like D1 middle linebackers. You know, I'm like, oh geez. But I guess what's surprising, as we've talked about before, is just everyone's ability to rise above, you know, and surprise yourself with what even you think you're capable of. And the most difficult, yeah, I mean, it has to be, you know, it's checking that ego at the door. You know, you have your certain perceptions of who you are, and you know, at like 19, 20, 21, like I thought I knew everything, you know. I didn't. I definitely didn't, but it sure seemed like I did at the time. And then coming to terms with the fact that I had so much to learn and so many opportunities at which to fail at, to get better at, I think that was the biggest challenge. But once you get past that, you find yourself becoming a person who can not only grow in that occasion, but continue to grow and adapt for any further challenges you might come across.
I think one of the biggest surprises I had was like how easy it was for everybody to come together and be one team. You know, you're coming from all over the United States, and you're coming from different backgrounds, different lives, and within like 1 or 2 days, everybody's doing everything together. You know, you're living together, sleeping right next to each other, eating together, and you become a big family so quickly. That's also one of the biggest challenges in boot camp as well, is getting past that hurdle of that it's not just me, you know, it's for the whole team. It's for everybody who's in this platoon that I'm going to struggle with for the next 13 weeks. So that's in itself is a big surprising for me, and it's a big challenge.
I think really quickly, just to add on to that, I think Staff Sergeant brought up an awesome point there about, you know, how surprising it is the connections you form. Like the friends that I made during my training, whether it be like, you know, a year, not even in some cases for certain schoolhouses, it's like they were friends I've had for my whole life. And they're people you can count on to do things that, you know, you may not be able to count on anyone else to do. Like, you know that they have your back because you've done all of that. And it's a love, it's frankly a love that you it's so hard to experience anywhere else. It's almost indescribable.
Hi, my name is Melody, and my question for you guys is, did you join after high school or after college, and what was that process like for you?
Mine got done with high school, went through college. I was about a year in, and it was very simple. I just walked into the recruiting office, sat down, and left about a week later. So it takes a little bit longer nowadays because you go into what's called the delayed entry program. And that program, the recruiters from high school or whether you're a graduate, they take you in, they train you, they teach you, you know, the isms, all the recruit training, like do's and don'ts kind of stuff, and kind of prep you as best as they can for recruit training. I didn't experience that when I went in, so it was a little more challenging for me. But today they have a much easier process to allow you the opportunity to train and prepare before you go and recruit training.
Yeah, I'll say in high school, I considered the service academies, like Naval Academy. I was actually too young to go, so that was out the door, and I thought that was over. Like, I'm like, all right, you know, if I can't be a Marine, I'm not gonna be anything else. So, oh well. You know, I talked about a little bit about what swayed my opinion earlier, but I was sitting around thinking, like, what do I want to do? You know, I think it was my junior year of college, and I saw an Instagram ad, you know, and it said a 10-week Marine Corps summer internship. You know, I'm not stupid. Like, it's not an internship. It's officer candidate school. They're gonna, you know, it's not your average office job. But I figured, you know what, like this, let's bring it back to high school. Like, this could be exactly what I'm looking for. Met with the officer selection officer, shipped off a few months later, finished school and commissioned right in. But yeah, to echo what First Sergeant said, like the process really is, it's foolproof, you know. Regardless if you want to go to college first or enlist right out of high school, there's people there who can help you figure out what's best for your needs to get you that life that you want.
So as I said earlier, when I went to the mini boot camp, I got back from that, and I immediately started recognizing that Marine recruiters were in my high school already. So I went up and talked to them, and I decided to enlist my senior year. I was 17 at the time, and I needed my parents' permission. So I told them, hey, I'm either gonna join the military or I'm probably gonna go work at McDonald's somewhere. Nothing against McDonald's workers, but you know, I didn't at the time. I didn't want to go to college, so that was my part.
Is this fine? Hi, my name is Paul Keaveney, and I joined the Marine Corps for a lot of different reasons, but mainly because of Ted Williams. Do you know who Ted Williams is? Anybody in this audience know Ted Williams? Greatest hitter of all times. But anyway, I joined the Marine Corps not because I wanted to be a Marine. I wanted to see war and view the horrors that, you know, and I had gone through the Vietnam War, so I joined to see the Vietnam War, and I wanted to be a combat photographer. And they have a combat photography in the Army, and they have it as well in the Marine Corps. But I didn't want to be in combat. I mean, I'd end up in combat, but it's one of the greatest experiences I've had is to be a member of these people. Because I was 26 years old when I went in the Marine Corps. And I'm just so proud of them. I wasn't prepared to. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I worked with. I really didn't want to be in combat. Period. I ended up in an organization called Force Reconnaissance in the Marine Corps, which is their special ops teams. But the spirit of the Marine Corps is just carried through my life, and like I said, I was 26 years old. I was the oldest guy going through boot camp. They called me the old man, and but you know, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now, but I just but I worked with some of the finest people in the country, and from officers and enlisted men, and I wouldn't give that up for the world. I mean, that my experience as a Marine. If you ever look up Ted Williams, you know, anybody know Johnny Carson? Nobody knows who Johnny Carson is. He was a late night talk show host, and he was on. This we're not going to make any sense.
I'm making sense.
Okay, but so anyway, he was one of the initial talk show hosts for his people, and he had Ted Williams on as a guest, and he's talking to Ted Williams, and he said, "What's the most experienced? You know, this is the greatest hitter that ever hit." He said, what's your greatest experience? Thinking he's going to talk about, you know, a baseball, you know, that story. And he said, thought about it, and he said, joining the United States Marine Corps. And he said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, that was the greatest experience I ever had. Ted Williams was a flyer, Second World War, and Korea. He did 2 terms, and he's still the greatest hitter that ever hit. He went through I just said it.
You're doing good.
But anyway, he's the greatest. What?
Yeah. Thank everybody.
Yeah. So anyway, but I mean, it's the greatest. It's a great experience for me to sit down with this young man, and I just wanted to say hi.
Thank you, Paul. That was unexpected. I think all of you being here today for Paul really means a lot to him. He keeps going like this. I know his heart and his mind is in the right place, and sometimes the words don't come out the way we all want them to, but he is so grateful. He's been looking forward to this day since he didn't want the attention. The community has been trying to get Paul to do this for years. We were finally able to make this day happen, and I just want to say on behalf of Paul that I know how grateful he is, and he feels the love from all of you. And so thank you all for being here today, and we'll take your questions, but I just wanted to express that on behalf of Paul because he asked me to. So.
Hello, I'm Danusha, and my question for you guys is, what quality within yourself helped you endure training and grow as a Marine?
That's a really good one. I think humility and perseverance. You have to put yourself in a position and allow yourself to be put in the position to actually have the effect that it has. They talk about a transformation. Well, the transformation only works is if you're willing to let it work. You know, if you're always pushing back and always stopping it from happening and not wanting to allow everyone to come in as a team, and you maintain the individualism mindset, you're not going to go anywhere. Those people are usually weeded out very quickly in the very beginning, and they get processed out. But yeah, and then just the perseverance aspect of never giving up and giving everything you got. Because there was a lot of people who quit, and over my years, I went through what's called assessment selection for MARSOC. It was called ANS. And that's the special operations unit that we have in the Marine Corps. And I made it all the way to the end, and I got to say it was a very challenging, humbling experience to have. And if I didn't have that kind of mentality, there's no way I would have been able to accomplish the things that I did during that training.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree with First Sergeant there. I mean, that perseverance is absolutely crucial, but to take it in a slightly different direction too, I think one of the most important things you could do is, you know, have a positive spirit and have a certain humorous nature about you, because the job gets tough, you know, and any number of silly things could happen when you're out there. Like I mean, you guys saw how much it snowed over the past few weeks, you know. Now imagine being outside in that, you know, and you're like, oh, great, this is wonderful. But and this is a trait you can carry to like whatever work you decide to do in your life. And it's just that people like to work around people who make them feel happy and who have a sense of humor and a positive spin on the world, you know. Don't be that person who points out the obvious and goes like, well, hey, this sucks, you know, like, well, okay, that's fun, way to be a downer. But it takes that sort of person, it's a real Marine mentality as well, to observe that, hey, things aren't going too well right now, but we can still have some fun, you know, and we could do this with a smile on our face and keep on pushing.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo off them again. I've been echoing them all day, but I think one of the biggest characteristics that is gonna help you is perseverance, right? And the only way you're gonna learn how to persevere is to put yourself in adversity, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, and over time, it's gonna help you build up that confidence. Like for me personally, English was my second language, so I grew up speaking Hmong, and it was hard for me to learn English. I had to go through ELL, all the school programs, which was great for me, you know. But facing those adversity in school, growing up, doing more with less. You know, my family, like I said, we're refugees, so we didn't have the best source of income. We were living, you know, paycheck to paycheck, and I think growing up in that kind of environment just helped me be able to persevere through those hardships. And I know that if I can get through that, I can get through boot camp. I can get through anything in my life.
Good morning. My name is Hope Cleveland, and my question for you is, where is the coolest place you have been stationed, and what about it was so special to you?
So I've been blessed and been able to go all over the world. From the Middle East, Iraq, I've been to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Germany, but I think the most memorable place, I've been to the Philippines too, multiple times, but Okinawa, Japan. I was stationed there for 3 years, and the traffic is horrendous, okay? So, and you drive in California, that's where I grew up, and so you're used to the the fast-paced driving, everyone swerving in and out to get through, you know, they have a place to be. And then you go to Okinawa where the speed limit is about 35 kilometers an hour, which is very slow. And because the coral, it's like a coral mix for the gravel, so you slide very easily, and it's very humid. And but the culture, one, is just extremely beautiful. The water crystal clear, blue. You see through everything. You see, like, anyone watch Little Nemo, like, or Finding Nemo, I should say. My kids, I got 5 kids, so they all watch it. Hey, oh, you got it on. Okay, those same fish were swimming. I'm walking over the bridge, and you just see them chilling, just swimming around. I was like, wow, that's something you don't see in the waters over where I'm from. But the most memorable thing, the food was amazing, but it's just the culture was just completely surprising. The just complete strangers coming up to you, you know, always giving you the right of way on the road. They have no worries whatsoever with getting to work. So you're like trying to get to work and they're pulled off on the side reading a book. I legitimately just decided to read a book. But the respect and the mentality that they had, the family mentality of honor, was just amazing. And it was something that I appreciated greatly, you know, coming to learning a new culture and being able to see that. So Okinawa, if you ever have an opportunity to go, I highly recommend it. So.
Yeah, I mean, so I was born on Long Island, grew up there, never went out of the country until I joined the Marine Corps. Like, I didn't even have a passport, and the Marine Corps was like, all right, you're going to Japan. So also we'll have to say Okinawa, Japan, definitely the coolest place I've had, you know, the honor of being at. I know there's the Finding Nemo reference. I mean, I know it's also in the, like, Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, like, there we go. I saw some nods. People know that one. Yeah, Oki's in that, and it's beautiful. It's an awesome place. Food's incredible. The weather's great. I mean, well, it gets really hot at points, but it's definitely doesn't get as cold as Boston, that's for sure. And memorable thing, yeah. I mean, just you know, being around like having friends who come from all walks of life and all across the country. You know, that's something you could appreciate there. But you know, being in someone else's country, and yet, you know, not even being able to speak the same language at times. Like, I was armed with all the power of Duolingo, you know, and being able to go into like a little restaurant there and talk to these old Okinawan people, you can't really communicate too well, but certain things come across regardless of whether they know your language or not, you know, and just being able to have fun and show like, hey, you know, I might be from America, you might have been in Japan your whole life, but at the end of the day, like, we're all humans and all we want to do is help each other. And you know, being there to represent the United States and leave a positive impact in their lives, like, that's an awesome, incredible experience that I think everyone should give a go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to echo everybody once again. But I have been to Okinawa. I've been there 4 times. I also went to Korea 2 times. But I do have to say Okinawa is one of the best places I've been to, and I'm trying to go back there, hopefully within the next summer or so, and get stationed there. And it's an amazing experience if you ever get the opportunity. For me, like First Sergeant was saying, he was looking down at the fish, but I was actually out there swimming with the fish, snorkeling, you know, going into caves, and it's a wonderful culture. It's a small island, but you're able to do everything in one day. That's not to say that there's not a lot to do, but I was going from the top of the island from a waterfall hike. It was about 5 miles to the waterfall. I swam under the waterfall, and then I went down to the city, ate some good food down there, and then I went back to the beaches and swam with the fishes again. You know, so a lot of things you can do, and the opportunity is there. So you just got to go out and find it.
Thank you for your time.
I'm Atlee, and my question is, what is one part of your service that you were the most proud of?
What part?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a very hard question to ask. I would say just becoming a United States Marine. You have so many memorable moments in your career, all the way from, picking up rank to the Marines you meet, to the places you go, to your first deployment, to being out in the field with your Marines and not taking a shower for a month. That happened, right? I wouldn't say that's a memorable time, but it was definitely happened many times. I think just knowing that you're part of something bigger than you, that you have the opportunity and the abilities to be able to do what I do on a daily basis, that in itself is something I'm always going to remember, because I can't actually put a one specific thing in my career.
Yeah, I mean, the funny answer to say is, like the real Marine Corps is the friends you make along the way, right? But I think just to give like a truly personal example that I've gone through recently that made me proud to be Marine and is like a memorable part of my life, I feel, is, there came a time when I thought, hey, might be time to hang it up, take a look at other things out there. Like I mentioned, have been at Cornell doing my MBA there, where all my friends are doing consulting, investment banking, any number of high-powered industry that your parents would say you should go do, right? And I did the investment banking thing for a bit. Like, it's cool. Like, you're on Wall Street, you're doing the thing, right? But I realized I was missing, what I talked about earlier, like, that love, and that care and concern that a Marine has in their work, and not just for their work, but for the person to the left and right of them. And I realized, look, there's so many great civilian leaders out there, but there were none that I looked up to in the way that I looked up to my Marine Corps leaders. Like, those are the men and women that I wanted to be like. And I have, and I recognize we're all men up here, but one of my best friends in the Marine Corps, she's a female captain. She's out in Okinawa. She helps run a logistics battalion. And one of the strongest people I know, period. Like, she could jump up there, bust out like 30 pull-ups like it's nobody's business, And when I have a sister who's some of your guys' age, she's 17. And when her friends ask me, like, could I join the Marine Corps? Like, could I do this? So I tell them about my friend, Captain DiCarlo, Olivia DiCarlo, because she's someone who you wouldn't think could do it. She's 4'11 and 3/4, she says, because she really wants those 3/4 in there. We just call her 4'11. But she's incredibly strong. And it's those sorts of people you get the honor of meeting. And that's the most memorable part to me. It's those other Marines you get the privilege of serving with.
For me, it's being able to be a leader, and what every sense in that word, right? Because we're taking young men and women like yourself, we send them to boot camp, get them trained up, but then we don't really teach them any life experiences in boot camp, right? We teach you how to deal with adversity, we teach you how to persevere, but buying your first car, going to get financing for your house, renting an apartment, paying your bills, all that stuff, and that's kind of what I enjoy the most, is helping young men, young Marines live their lives to their fullest, right? Not making those bad decisions. And for me as a leader, that's what I look forward to, because I didn't have that growing up. I went to the Marine Corps, joined out of high school, and bought my first car. I made a stupid decision. I'm not going to tell you the APR, right? But it was a high APR. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't. And so now all my experiences, I want to be able to share that so that young men and women like yourselves don't make that decision.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Sophia, and my question is, if you could go back to the day you enlisted and give your high school self or younger self a piece of advice, what would it be and why?
So yeah, I mean, I would tell my high school self to join cross country and start running more, man. I mean, like learning how to run. Like, I mean, I played football in high school, played tennis, but you're running play to play. You're not like a track star by any means. Then hit college, and the freshman 15 and then some happened, and I had to get in shape to commission. You know, at OCS, or Officer Candidate School, like they call it a run factory. Like you're running every day nonstop. And, you know, I hated running, but I knew I wanted to be a Marine. And at that point, like if you know you want to do something, like the answer of what you have to do is pretty easy. You just run more. So it sucked at first. You know, I remember actually, oh wow, the very first time I ran a full mile was actually here on Cape Cod. I had like a summer program there at the Marine Biological Laboratory down at Woods Hole. If some of you guys have been by there, it's beautiful. So middle of the summer, and I'm running along the beach because like it's beautiful there. I remember thinking, oh my God, like a bear is gonna tackle me. I mean, there's no bears down there, but that's what I was thinking. And it helped me complete that like first true mile of my life. And I know it's not like oh like here's a certain attribute I wish I had, but like you know, I wish I ran more. You know, go on a run, guys. And it's I mean not right now, it's cold, but run responsibly.
If I could go back, I would tell myself to stop procrastinating. I'm still a big procrastinator right now, so I need that time machine. But yeah, stop procrastinating, and I do this every single day. You know, I tell myself, like the captain was saying, go for that run. I tell myself, I'll run in 30 minutes. Oh, I'll run in 30 minutes, and then 30 minutes comes, and I'm not running. I'm still on my phone, doing the Facebook death scroll, looking at YouTube videos and all that, right? So that's the biggest thing is stop procrastinating. Just do it.
I actually thought of something. It would be kind of to the effect of what Staff Sergeant Jean is talking about. So with my brothers, when they enlisted, I grew up with 8 kids in my family, all from the same parents, Roman Catholic. So yes, yeah, lots of kids. But when my brothers enlisted, my mom made me swear. She's like, "You are not enlisting. I am not having all of my sons die." And so there was this big, like crazy, she's like, "You're all gonna die. I'm gonna lose all my sons." And so I basically stopped everything that I wanted to do. And I just kept doing my normal things, going to college, doing, working my daily life. And then I didn't enlist till I was 24. And by then I'd already been bartending for multiple years. I had already been in the party stage of my life, had pretty much gone through. But I wasn't as young and athletic as I was before. I let myself go, basically, right? But if I would have stuck with it when I knew I was going to do it and didn't get sidetracked, and found a way to show my mom, like, to this day, I'm like, "See, I'm still alive, Mom. Like, all your sons are still alive too." But maybe explain things, like do the research, because I really didn't do any research. I'm just like the good idea fairy coming up in my head, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do." And of course, any good parent is gonna be like, "No, you're a dumb kid, right? You need to think things through. You obviously haven't thought things through. This is just a good idea coming in." Like, so they thought it was gonna pass. It didn't pass. But yeah, is to tell myself, 1, train, get ready for it, but 2, don't second guess yourself. When you truly understand when you have a calling for something, whether that's the military or whether that's a civilian career, don't let other people stand in your way for pursuing your dream, because only you're the one who's going to live that life. You are the one who's going to experience those things, and you are the only one who can truly know what you want inside. So I would just say that.
That's some great advice, and I'm sure most of us can relate to that. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Margaret, and what's one skill you developed in the Marines that's helped you the most in everyday life? And if I could follow that up with what's the most Marine-specific skill that you learned in basic training?
So the most basic skill is just following orders to a T. Like when the drill instructors tell you to do something, you do it right away, and it becomes so ingrained into you. It's almost like muscle memory, right? anything else to add?
Yeah, I could hop in. Yes, I mean, they teach different things at Officer Candidate School and Boot Camp, but I would say one of the most applicable skills I learned was just, being able to have like a sort of command presence or being able to lead people who are older than me and usually more skilled in whatever it is I'm trying to like help implement, Like I mentioned in college, did the elected official stuff, did every debate I could on campus to learn how to speak. But it's different when you're talking with like your peers, other kids per se. Like it's way different when you're talking to a guy like 28, 30, if not older than that, wife and kids, and you got to tell this guy what to do. And being able to have the confidence, and the confidence that comes with understanding your own job as well, but certainly the confidence to go up to them and say like, hey, obviously with your feedback in mind, with like an active discussion, here's what we're gonna do, and feeling sure that you made the right decision. And most Marine skill, huh? I mean, you could say the obvious things. That's the different weapons you fire. Get your rifles, your machine guns, your rocket launcher, everything you can imagine. But I'd say it's not gonna be something you'll think of, but it's carrying a heavy pack on your back. I mean that's the job when you think about what we're doing, and you'd be surprised at how much stuff you could fit in the backpack. Like I've done so many silly little trips now, like by myself in like a foreign country, carrying just one backpack, and it's like this is all I need. Just a pair of raw denim in Vietnam and having a great time. But yeah, definitely. Calm under pressure is probably one of the biggest and best things the military teaches.
I think part of it goes into your ability to lead under stress. I don't know if did any of you really hit on that one. I mean, it all kind of goes in like, it's kind of a synergy of everything when you think about it, because there's no one specific quality that they teach you that's more important than the other. We talk about honor, courage, and commitment. Those things work together. If you lose one, you lose the others. They all tie into each other. Same thing with our leadership traits and our principles. And the leadership traits, if you think of a trait, it's the qualities that you have in yourself. The leadership principles, think about now, how am I displaying those qualities in my leadership? What are my, I guess, rules that I live by? Setting the example, knowing your Marines and looking out for their welfare, keeping your Marines informed, being technically and tactically proficient, making sound and timely decisions. These are all different things. It's not Marine Corps specific. We all understand these things, but the emphasis the Marine Corps puts on these things, the importance behind setting the example, being a leader that others want to follow. That's something you can't get, in my opinion. I worked 22 jobs before the Marine Corps because I was typically working 2 to 3 jobs at a time. I never learned anything like it until I became a Marine. And so that has set me up to be in a position now where I can use that leadership experience to help mold and shape other people's futures for the better. So yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
Also, cool Hadestown shirt. I've seen the show twice.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cole, and I want to start by thanking you for being here and sharing your experiences. And my question is, aside from physical demands, what are some values you've learned when serving your time in the Marines?
Shared hardships. So being a father, being a husband, multiple deployments. I left 10 days after my first child was born on ship. So it was like my wife, we were in Okinawa too, by the way. So here comes my wife, me and her from California, born and raised, never been away from our families, especially her having a new baby. She had the baby in Okinawa, so technically we have an Okinawa baby, but, and then all of a sudden having 10 days of leave and saying, see you later. I'm going on ship. I say this because other Marines have the same experiences and the same stories, right? There's never a good time in your career where you're going to have to get up and go and do something, where you have to deploy or where you have to go to a meeting or where you have to do all these different things. There's always going to be things in your life that you have to prioritize. And it's hard to say prioritize over my family, because to me, my family is always number one. But when you have a commitment to something, having an understanding to be able to say, I need to take care of this, and having a support system, not just with your wife, or your husband or your significant other, but with your family, your friends, and the Marines around you, being able to share those difficult moments in your life. That's how you get through them. That's how you're able to overcome those challenges.
Yeah, in terms of values, I'd say two things stick out to me. One has got to be an appreciation for history. Like, this is U.S. History 1 and 2, they said, right? Is that AP, or how's that go? You guys are taking history, so you're gonna learn it whether you like it or not. But I love history. Like, history was my favorite subject in high school. Did a little bit of it in college. Did poli-sci, so I guess still somewhat history, right? And it's just awe-inspiring to be able to follow, like, in the footsteps and really stand on the shoulders of really amazing men and women who've come before me. Like, you hear citations like the ones we heard, just a few minutes ago, and you can't help but think, like, oh my God, like who goes through those sorts of things? Like, what incredible men and women are able to do this? And you realize, hey, like, I'm wearing the same uniform as them, or I have the honor of standing next to them. And that's just, it's a feeling that just, you feel like something bigger than yourself, And I'd say the second thing would be, instilling that value of integrity and doing the right thing when no one's looking. I'd say it even extends back to the whole running thing. It's like, no one's going to know if you didn't run today. Like, no one's going to know if, you had that cookie. It's going to taste good. But the thing is, like, joking aside, I find that people in the service are willing to do that extra thing that they don't have to do, that no one's asking them to do, but they know it's the right thing to do. And you can see that difference when you're just, you talking to peers your age, just the difference in responsibility and the difference in what you're able to do and how you're able to carry yourself is just, I've seen night and day.
Yeah, one of the biggest values for me is being able to problem solve under pressure, right? Because you go through your daily lives, and high school is a big pressure, but when you're faced with adversity, you're faced with making life or death decisions, that really puts you into a different perspective of your daily life, right? And being able to make those decisions and have those opportunities, it's what's going to help build you up. So.
Thank you.
Hello again. Do you have a favorite memory from serving?
I got a funny one. There's so many different funny things that have happened, and this one I think about because, like, a lot of things that happen in the military, like, aren't funny. Have you ever heard of the difference between, like, type 1, type 2, type 3 fun? You guys heard that? Okay, well, brief little primer on that. Type 1 fun is fun where everyone can agree, like, this is awesome, like, we're having a great time. Type 2 fun is fun where it's like, hey, it's not fun in the moment, but I could look back and say it was fun. And type 3 is, no matter how you look at it, it's just not fun, But I think the beauty of the military is, like, you really push the boundary of what's type 3, And I think I find a lot of things funny now that, I wouldn't have found funny 4 or 5 years ago. And I think one of them, I was with my unit in New Jersey, right? And last day of the field op. We've been out there for 2 weeks. The whole no showering thing. Whatever. It's a little chilly out. Okay. But the worst part that happens is it starts raining. And it's not like a light rain. It's a heavy rain, and just we're like, oh my God, like why did they end the exercise already? Oh my God, this is hard. And I remember looking over and seeing I had a sergeant, just like a monster of a man. Like he's just like a meatball, but all meat, just like a muscular individual. And he's trying to hide from the rain a little bit, and he's under a tree that's like far too small for him. And you could just see like the rain cascading down, and he's like up against the tree, and it's just not working. And I remember looking at that, just thinking, this is the funniest thing in the world, Yeah, maybe you had to be there, but it was, or maybe not. You wouldn't want to be there, but it's just being able to look at those silly little moments and saying like, hey, I was here with my boys. I was here with my Marines, the people I love, the people who love me, and that's awesome. We could have fun together doing whatever it is.
Yeah, but one of my favorite moments in military service was when I was on a ship and we crossed the equator. And if we have any Navy guys in here, you know what happens when you cross the equator. It's a big ceremony, and you go through the whole ship, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's almost torture. I don't want to say it that way, but it's a fun ceremony where you voluntarily put yourself in situations where water is being thrown at you. You're on the ship going through a water slide. You'll be on the where the airplanes land and everything, and you're doing exercises, jumping into a swimming pool, and that was one of my most favorite moments. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not supposed to tell you what happens, but it's one of my funnest experiences.
Nothing illegal, first and foremost. No, we set that straight. So I have a lot of amazing memories, whether it's deploying or coming back from a deployment and seeing my family, my kids. But a funny story, Captain brought something up. I was in the desert. We had just set up all of our tents. Everything was sandbags filled, so we were pretty ripe, to say the least. If no one understands that, means we stunk really badly. And it had been close to a month, living on baby wipe showers. If you don't know what that means, you use baby wipes to wipe your body off to be clean. And it's not you don't feel much better afterwards. So, but one thing I had brought with me that I found was I had the little shampoo, conditioner, and the little travel pack, right, with the body wash and stuff. And so I took a couple boxes, MRE boxes, empty boxes, put some liners in it, filled it up with some water, took off my camouflage utilities, washed them in it, wring them out, had some soap in that. Then I went and made a makeshift shower in the desert with a stick in the ground, and I put a tarp around it and a water bladder up, and I just scrubbed off real quick. And I got so much heat from my fellow Marines about how weak I was and how they were just laughing at me and making jokes about me. I felt so good. I can't even explain it. And the funniest part about it was when they started trickling in, asking to use my water bladder so they could do the same thing. So that was, to this day, I still remember that shared moment where it was poking fun, having a good time, and then so that was a funny time.
If I can give one more just like cool story, to get like the cool factor, right? It also is out in that desert, out in California. And to this day, my only exposure to California has been the desert of 29 Palms and the mountains up north, which is like a really horrible way to experience the state. Either way. I remember we were out there and they gave us these cutting edge, night vision goggles. Like these are the ones where it's like you're playing Halo. And like you put them on, you can see the outlines of people through smoke. You could even put little waypoints on top of them. You could see like cardinal directions and compass directions. It was amazing. And I remember we did a range, or basically we were out there doing effectively maneuvers. And I remember it was, my turn to go. We had these vehicles that have these large mounted machine guns on them, and they fire also things called tracers, which are little red or green lights that streak out and it was dark, into the night. And I remember getting out of the vehicle and, they're telling you to move, telling you to run, and looking in those high-tech, I mean, we joked, it was the equivalent of wearing like a Honda Civic on your head. It's like 20-something grand. These are expensive devices. And looking up and seeing the cliffside that the machine guns were hitting on, and seeing the tracers hit into them, these red, green neon lights, and in the night it looked like Star Wars. It was beautiful. Like, it was nothing like I've ever seen in my life. And they just tell you to run, and you go towards it. And it's something like, it gives me chills just to even think about. Just because it's something that, they even said after the fact, it's like none of your friends back home will know what this looks like. Like, none of your friends back home will know the feeling of what it is, even if in just training, to run at that. And I think that's something that, even like, say it's nighttime and not much is going on, and it's one of those times where you're just thinking, yeah, I could still see the streaks of light as they impact into the cliffside.
Thank you.
I'm blown away. I'm also tasked with closing this out, and I don't really want to. This was incredible, so thank you so much. So some truly remarkable insights, some personal stories, lessons, takeaways. I think it's fair to say this has not only been a learning experience, this has been an inspiring one. This is U.S. history, 1 and 2, with some AP classes in here too, but it's much more than that. We can learn a lot from history, as we know, but this is history alive and present, and it's really beautiful. You hear things like character and intelligence, connection, family. I counted the word love 3 times. Privilege, and not the kind that you receive because of your existence, but one that you create. Honor, strength, perseverance. I mean, think about carrying a heavy backpack, what that means literally and personally. Leading under stress. And fun, but also honorable. So we do have to wrap it up, and I want to, before we do, I just want to make sure that I thank the people who made this possible. Mrs. Power, our department head in the Social Studies Department, and her fabulous colleagues. Our beautiful choir and our powerful band. Of course, our students, there were over 200, maybe 300 questions that were submitted, and we had the unenviable, but really cool task of picking 25 or so, and the students represented their classes extremely well. But what great, thoughtful questions by the students, so give yourselves a nice hand on that. Our guests from Central Office, Superintendent Borchers and Assistant Superintendent Mailer, thank you for being here. Some town officials made it, so we greatly appreciate their community support. Our community members, some of Paul's family and friends as well, so let's give all of those community members a nice round. And our active U.S. Marine Corps service members, this was an outstanding panel, outstanding. And I mean this with great endearment, but we were hesitant to give our MC a microphone, but Andy Turok did a great job. Thank you, Andy. And I think it's only proper to wrap it up with another standing ovation for our guest of honor, Lance Corporal Paul Keaveney.